Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us tonight. Dylan Wells, Buildwell Northwest, your remodel contractor in the Woodburn area. We like to specialize from Salem up to Sherwood area, Tualatin, Lake Oswego.
And I'm Stephanie Wells with Living Local Northwest, brokered by eXp Realty, and we run about the same direction on I-5.
Yeah, up and down I-5 we go. Tonight we are talking about DIY do's and don'ts. That's do-it-yourself do's and don'ts. What you should leave to us professionals, and what are some things that you can take care of on your own.
So I guess one of the first things that we're going to talk about is what people ask about all the time, like kitchen and bath. That's what is going to make the best
return on your investment on putting money into your home. If you're getting ready to list, those are one of the things, one of the strategies that we have partaked in is what we call house hacking. So you buy a home and you live in it for 2 years and add value to that home. One of those ways to add value to the home is to renovate it or update. So in a bathroom, Stephanie, what are some of those things that
you can do on your own?
Yes.
So I would say that of all the things that you need to do in a bathroom, say updating plumbing fixtures, updating lighting fixtures, painting,
new countertops on vanities,
replacing exhaust fans. So plumbing, electrical, always leave to the professional. Painting, definitely take it on yourself if you're patient. I am not patient. We do not paint in our house.
I don't paint either. I used to paint. I don't like it. And so I leave it to a professional myself, but it's one of those things that can be done. It adds a lot on certain things, right?
So flooring is another thing that can be done yourself. Carpet you can't do yourself, and that's kind of one of the reasons that people may decide to not install carpet, is that they can save money on the labor by putting in click together laminate themselves. And if they want to redo the carpets, they might just pull out the carpets and put back laminate instead, because they can save on the labor costs there. Updating the countertops, there's a couple different home countertops that you can do, and if you are really good at reading directions, I've seen them turn out really great. You can do slab countertops, Formica, laminate, those. But as far as quartz, solid surface, I would definitely call in a professional for that. And then
it's really affordable to have them come in, measure, do it, and then you install the tile backsplash. That's one great way to add to the aesthetic. I want to go to kind of one thing that could help you is you either have a design eye or you don't. And I would always kind of reach out and ask people, what do you think of these options? We see a lot of things where it was going great and then they pick something and it throws it off. Why did they choose that? Why did they paint this? So that's get some help. Sherwin-Williams has color consults. I don't remember if they're free or if they charge. Stephanie, do you remember the last time we did it?
I believe they were charging before COVID, and then they've gone to a virtual, and I don't know if they're back to doing it in person. Okay. We have used a color consultant that was just a standalone designer, and they were a set travel fee of $200. And when you're talking about adding thousands of dollars to your home, $200 for a professional to come in is a super affordable fee. Is that something that Buildwell does? Do we do any design consult?
Yes, we do. We charge a hourly fee to come out and do design. We also have 3 levels where if you want a full design, we will handle it all, give you 3 options. You pick it, or we will do an hourly design consult. I believe it's $75 an hour to come out and do a consult on helping you pick out the tile grout color, the countertop, the finishes, paint colors, and then also the vanity color.
So I would say what Dylan's talking about is that there are colors and textures involved in design, and you might think you love like a Pinterest picture and you don't realize that there's 6 shades of white in there and it's really hard to get it right. So countertops have a shiny finish and a matte finish. Backsplash has a shiny finish and a matte. They also have size, so the formatting. So a countertop, you can have a solid surface that's all one piece. You can have individual tiles. Same with a backsplash. You can have a slab backsplash. You can have larger tiles. You can have small mosaic tiles, and all of those really need to go together. So when you do a design consult, you're not just doing a design consult for color. You're making sure that colors and textures and materials all work really well together. So that's all part of the design process.
Yeah, and using our expertise on what's worked well and what hasn't in the past.
And I would say also with that, so like there might be something that you love and it's a splurge item. So part of that design consult factors in budget too. So you can pick one item you really, really love, and then we can help you find a few other items that are a little bit more affordable that go really well with that splurge item that you're in love with. So that's just us knowing the market, knowing what products are available. Sometimes you might not know that there's a new replica product out that looks like marble and is half the cost, or the tile might come in with a mesh back and it goes up super fast as opposed to individual tiles. So those are all just with us being in the showrooms all the time and talking with the sales reps for different product lines. Those are things that we're able to negotiate, but also learn about before the general public kind of hears about it. So we talked a little bit about bathrooms on homeowner DIYs. Would you recommend a homeowner to do any sort of like exterior? What kind of exterior are you thinking? Would they replace siding? Would they paint? Would they caulk? Like what are some homeowner maintenance items and what is a DIY versus when you should call in a professional?
My answer on all of them is you should call a professional because that's what I do. But the things that you can do exterior wise is treat for moss on your roofs. That's a maintenance item to do. Also is cleaning the house. So a low pressure wash. You need to be careful with your pressure washer on your house for peeling paint off and damaging window seals. That is a big issue. And then you always can do your touch-up paint, your caulking, looking at weather stripping in your doors and your garage door as well. That is one thing you don't mess with is garage doors, as there's anything to do with springs. That's a non-DIY. Those springs carry a lot of pressure and force, and do not touch your garage door springs. I don't like touching water, so I could replace that faucet. Homeowners insurance, if it is not sudden and accidental, they won't cover it. So if there's a slow leak that you don't catch or that is caused by you, homeowners doesn't cover that.
What is the plan or what's the process to start a DIY home renovation?
What is the plan or the process, huh?
Yeah, like do you just go to the hardware store and buy paint one weekend and now you're DIYing your bathroom?
That's what you did to me, yes.
Yeah. So do you want people to not do that?
No, paint's always last. Paint's the last thing you do before you hang up your finishes on the wall. So
what's like if somebody wants to do themselves, what does it take? Like what's a timeline for a bathroom remodel if they're doing weekends and that kind of stuff? Like how long should they expect to not have a bathroom? And what are kind of the things they should set themselves up? I'm asking because we had that client that asked us to come in for 4 days and reno their whole house this week.
Yeah, so
Can you do it in 4 days?
We told them to do it yourself. No, I would plan 6 months, easy. We always start with plumbing. That is your number one start. So if you're changing any plumbing, rough-in plumbing. So the stuff in the walls, if you're moving where the toilet's at, where sink's at, where the shower is, that all starts first after you demo. And then after plumbing, you go into rough-in electrical. So if you're moving outlets because you moved the vanity and you need to make sure you have an outlet close for your hair dryer and your curling iron, we do those next. And then we start some build back. So after we have the plumbing electrical done, we start doing wall coverings and then flooring. go tile or LVT flooring. And after we have all the wall coverings done, the flooring done, and we start trimming, before we got into the covering the walls, bathrooms, sometimes we go in and make a bigger or smaller window. And that's a common one. Like our bathroom, she decided to go a bigger window. Some we do a lot smaller to get up above kind of shoulder height and obscured glass, or they want to change it to not have the obscured glass, so they raise it up. Then we go, once we have flooring in and bathtub or shower base, we start tiling. Tile goes in, we do grout tile, and then we measure for glass doors, or we get the Home Depot, there's a Delta sliding glass doors. That's a very nice DIY. Instead of a shower curtain or the old obscured chrome track on bypass track doors, there's a great clear option for bath shower combos or just a shower combo at Home Depot or Lowe's. Delta has a great product there. We've done that in quite a few bathrooms. Then we start, after floor is all set, trim and paint. And then you do your finishes of electrical finishes, and then you start hanging your towel rods and hooks and toilet paper holder.
One of the questions that got asked earlier this week was, will remodeling a home increase the property taxes? I feel like that's a realtor question, so I'll answer that one.
Yeah, going on to your world here.
It depends on if permits are pulled. So cleaning up your house, just taking care of general items that are, paint. You should paint the interior every few years. That's not going to increase the property value, even though it will be all cleaned up. Exterior, anything that's exterior that somebody can drive by and see something done, or anything that required a permit at the county, those are the two items that are going to trigger a property tax increase. It still would be relatively insignificant because property taxes are only allowed to go up 3% a year unless you've done a major remodel. A property tax assessor does not have permission to go around your property unless a gate is open. So they are able to walk on your property because they are assessing for value. So as long as you have your yard fully fenced and gated, they're really not supposed to be poking around, but they can peek over fences to see if you added a porch overhang. They can...
Google Earth or the maps view on Google has helped tax assessors assess your backyards.
And permanent, so concrete is a permanent fixture, whereas pavers are not. So concrete increases the property value, but pavers do not. Just a couple of those kind of items. So, a Costco pergola is not permanent. A roof overhang attached to your property is permanent. So those are two different just kind of things if you want to be conscious of that.
We're going to go to just say who we are again. Dylan Wells, Buildwell Northwest, remodel contractor in the Willamette Valley, centered out of Woodburn.
My name is Stephanie Wells with Living Local Northwest, brokered by eXp Realty, and I'm a real estate agent, and I service clients between the areas of South Salem, Albany, all the way up to Wilsonville.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us. I saw at one point we had 3 viewers. Thanks for stopping in. If you guys have questions, please dump them in that comment box. We can try to get to them. I think we're really behind where we're shooting to what's in the video, but we'd love to see if we can answer those for you.
So I think the people always are concerned about what's going to add value to my home. And obviously when you use a whole lineup of licensed bonded general contractors for everything like demo and all of that, the ROI number is a little bit lower just as a homeowner. So yes, obviously Dylan wants the Build Well business and we are happy to do all of your demo. We're happy to do all of that. That being said, if you're looking to maximize, what are the things that you absolutely can do? You need to be careful with doing demo because sometimes doing demo, if you are unskilled, can cause more damage. Even things like pulling trim off, there's a certain way that things need to be done. So yes, as an overall budget or an overall project cost, anything that you can do yourself can alleviate some time on the back end. That being said, if you are not on top of things or you don't know what you're doing exactly, sometimes you can add more costs by having to have callbacks. So if you weren't ready for the plumber and the plumber showed up, or if you you did something and then you changed your mind and the electrician had to come back because you didn't like exactly where the light was. So you just need to make sure that if you do want to DIY a project, that you're really on top of the process and
watch your YouTube videos.
Yeah. Contractors are out there, we're running a business, so we are not interested in teaching you how to do it yourself. So we're totally willing to work with a homeowner that wants to be involved, but you have to understand that our time is valuable. So it's a cost benefit analysis, basically. So is your time better spent as a homeowner going to work to pay for a remodel done by a professional, or do you have the skills and the time to kind of take on some of those items? And I think that's what's most important when you decide to do a DIY renovation versus scheduling it all out. Basically, as a general rule of thumb, anything that is a licensed trade, so plumbing, electrical, anything that's digging underground, those things can be really costly really quickly. Any of those items, we would say definitely hire out. And then also, I would leave the finish work, the absolute last touches, to the professionals. And a lot of times that is paint, trim, caulking. Those are all things that doesn't take a license, but they are skilled trades. And so that's why those trades are paid what they are, because of their expertise and their ability to create a nice finished product. Kind of wraps all those tools together.
Yeah, I always push for the professionals to paint, because that's the final finish that you see. And that's how a lot of the blemishes, everything gets fixed. Those painters are unbelievable at fixing those things. And you spend $150,000 on a remodel, and then you paint it yourself. You see those brush strokes. You still see the nail holes. You see things that you go, I spent a lot of money for the finish to look like this. So that's kind of one of those things that I always push. And then also timeline. When you're ready to move back into your house after we've redone your kitchen and 3 bathrooms, we've been in there for 3 months, and then you turn around and you go, oh, I can't put all my furniture against the wall yet. I can't put everything in there. I still have to paint. And so that's one of those things where we can have a painting crew in there within a week to 10 days and have everything painted, while we try to push you guys out on a little vacation if we're coming in for a big paint, because it makes things easier for the painters, faster for the painters, and there's less chance of someone saying, is this dry? And they put their fingerprint right in the wet paint.
You mentioned something just a minute ago about watching a lot of YouTube videos. So if somebody was interested in DIYing stuff, where's the best place that they could get information?
YouTube.
Okay.
Well, I don't know what you're asking me.
There's YouTube. What are some good, is there the hardware stores? Are they usually pretty helpful and knowledgeable?
Yeah, a lot of the people in the hardware store have retired out of construction and moved into a less laborious position. So they have a lot of knowledge.
TikTok now, Unfortunately, you can search TikTok just like you can search Google. I actually, yesterday, I tried to search something on Google, and Google gave me a bunch of junk I didn't want, and I found it on TikTok in 2 seconds. So yes. TikTok.
Thanks, long time listener, Robert.
House.com is another great resource. Anywhere that has boards, so I know even Reddit has some good boards on there that you can get. Bigger Pockets is one where people have a lot of tips and tricks on. Pinterest has a lot of the DIY stuff if you weed through, because Pinterest came up in the age when bloggers were one of the first ones to make money on the internet selling content, basically. And so bloggers got paid to drag out a DIY remodel story over 3 weeks, basically.
Yeah.
So
when was the last time you tried to look up a cooking recipe and it's got 3 pages of how they cook their asparagus, when in the bottom is throw in a pan? That's one of those great ones.
So YouTube is also a really great place for where you can find information. So like we mentioned exhaust fans really quick. Some of the older homes, the parts are really hard to source. And when you do a DIY remodel, all of a sudden you're trying to mesh new with old and it can get really difficult. So YouTube is a great resource.
A lot of older homes don't have bathroom exhaust fans.
Yeah.
And then you have manufactured homes that have their own kind of exhaust fan. So one of the resources that I watch a lot of is This Old House. So they have channels on YouTube now instead of just PBS, where they have a lot of great information on that. And Bob Vila is a good one. There's a lot of home renovator shows. I go to some of the shows where we learn about different manufacturers, equipment to tile, new painting techniques, hanging cabinets. That's one that I watched hours of down at the Builder Show down in Las Vegas. And one of the things I stress too, the average homeowner doesn't remodel their house very often. So they might see like a max 2 to 3 remodels in their lifetime, where I'm looking at one every day, right? So we start to see things and project issues a lot sooner than a lot of people. But I was a DIYer when I started. I've learned everything doing it the hard way. Some have cost me money. I will never forget, Stephanie did an epoxy grout on her own on a tile. And I think she got more on her everywhere than she did on the tile floor.
Yeah, so epoxy, I read all the things and it said that it held up longer and you didn't have to seal it. And so it sounded like a great thing. Yeah, well, the reason why it holds up longer and you don't have to seal it is it sticks to everything.
And it's non-porous.
So you basically can't clean it.
Robert, I think all of our videos are only on our Facebook Live pages right now.
No, they're on YouTube.
We have them all on YouTube?
Yeah.
Well, they're on YouTube. We got to figure out where to share that link then.
So this is the live. I think we've done this probably 8 times now. We do this every 2 weeks, first and third. You can find us on the first Thursday at 8:00 on the Buildwell page. And then the third Thursday, you can find us on the Stephanie Wells real estate page. And basically, we just flip-flop between topics that are relevant to both real estate and contracting, DIYs, home values, the trends you're hearing in the market. I think next week we're probably going to have to do, next 2 weeks is a Buildwell one. But next month for the Stephanie Wells real estate page one, we're definitely going to have to do, there's a lot of stuff coming down in legislation and in the finance world regarding mortgages and
credit scores
and just the availability. Basically, there's a huge problem that housing is not accessible, available, or there's another A word.
Affordable?
Yes, that. Affordable. Affordable, accessible, and available. And what that means is that there's things that you can do to make things more affordable, but then the accessibility goes out the window. So we're having some serious conversations about what are those 3 things, how do they work together? And I think that's probably definitely something that we're going to have to talk about next month.
Long-time listener, Robert, thanks for posting some questions. Yes, one of those mistakes for me is painting. So I have made the mistake of trying to paint better things than I can. And I've gone to hiring it out to a higher quality professional. Excuse me. Dylan Wells, Buildwell Northwest, remodel specialist here in Willamette Valley.
I'm Stephanie Wells with Living Local Northwest, brokered by eXp Realty, located in Woodburn, Oregon. We cover the I-5 corridor between Wilsonville and South Salem.
Yeah. I want to end with Robert. Sorry, that's where I was going was what's my biggest fail on DIY. We talked kind of about Stephanie's epoxy grout on that tile. I think one of the design choices we decided one time was we did stainless steel countertops and backsplash in a bathroom. And we had a
roommate.
We had a roommate, yes, and then we also had a soap dish and was a toothbrush holder on the counter, and it all just, we picked the wrong type of stainless steel countertop, and it all just scratched, and every time we cleaned, something would catch it. That was one of our fails on the DIY side.
Yeah, but we're taking on some new flip projects right now, and so we've kind of talked a little bit. It's just kind of it's come up in conversation quite a lot recently, like how many projects we've done over the years. And we started flipping homes about 11 years ago, and the market was considerably different. Product choices were considerably different. It used to be, when we first did our first flip, the rule of thumb was every trade was $5,000. So you knew electrical, plumbing, HVAC, roofing and siding was $5,000 each. So you could get all of that for $25,000. I would kill to go back to those prices, right? So it just shows that you really have to be a lot more picky and choosy when you've got your budget, when those items are all doubled now. So that those 5 items now are easy a $50,000 remodel. I mean, a furnace, if you've tried to replace your furnace recently or add AC, both of those items. So we've been flipping for quite a long time, and we've learned a lot. And but as a homeowner, it just goes to show that, as you do it more, as you own more homes, you just get kind of better and better about what you want and what you want to see. And
yeah, I had an instance here recently, a system in a home failed, and they were trying to figure out why it failed and whose fault it was. And I was kind of like, it's older. You don't know if it was maintained before you. And that's the joy of home ownership right now, is things fail. It's their first home, and it was a lesson that you have to maintain, and things do happen. And what can you do to prolong your systems in your home? One of them is keeping them clean, and checking air filters, the batteries in your smoke detectors, watching caulking along your. I was pointing at the countertop behind me, the countertops, and then also around sinks and bath fixtures. So making sure that those are all sealed and not cracked. Water is the number one enemy in a house. So we want to prevent it from going anywhere.
So let us know if you have any questions on what you want to DIY. We are happy to tell you if it's going to add value, if it's going to be a good choice, or maybe if we want to have that conversation, have you maintained what's already there before you go doing something new. We see that a lot too, where all of a sudden we're putting new countertops into somebody with a 35-year-old furnace, and we're kind of going, if this is your only $7,000 for it, let's think about this. So just kind of making sure that we're helping you to use your best dollars to make you be able to stay in your home for as long as possible.
Yeah, and if you've gotten into a DIY project and you're like, I'm over my head, reach out. We can work something out to rescue you from that situation and get you into actually enjoying your home with your new space. So thank you, everybody. Dylan Wells, Buildwell Northwest, remodel contractor in the Willamette Valley.
And Stephanie Wells with Living Local Northwest, brokered by eXp Realty. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, guys. And we'll see you now on the first Thursday, correct?
May 4th.
May 4th. Oh, may the 4th be with you.
And then Cinco de Mayo is on a Friday this year.
Uh-oh. All right. We'll see you guys later.